First off, I just like to give a shout out to the Auburn family and the Auburn fan base. Two things. One, our home opener, the effort and energy in that building and the environment was incredible. It felt like an SEC, big SEC game late in the year. And the students were incredible. The fans were incredible to sell that thing out. And it just, as a result, I thought our guys played with great energy as well. And I know our players are grateful. I know they are. And then on top of that, to read about the fact that our game Saturday night against Texas A&M is a sellout. What a great statement the Auburn family and our Auburn fan base is making to our coaching staff and the players. Supporting them in a season that obviously is not going to be a championship season with some transition. So just a shout out to our fans, and it makes my job easier, but it also continues to make me feel I feel a real responsibility to keep delivering great basketball, and we're working hard to do that. So Friday night, South Florida. South Florida, we were down 25-10 the first half. We were down at halftime. We were down for most of the game. That was it was a tough matchup for us. South Florida is a really good defensive team. Brian Gregory, the coach there, was a Tom Izzo disciple amongst several others, and they do a great job defensively. They guard you, they scout you, they take away things that you're good at. They were as prepared for us as any team we had played against, and it was obviously a real struggle. Things they did defensively really bothered us, and we had a hard time scoring. I think 10 points in about 15 minutes of basketball, something like that. So they'll guard us the same way. And so we'll have to do a better job executing ourselves offensively, but at the same time, continue to guard them because it's not going to be a high-scoring game. They've got a lot of transfers. They got Kid Harris from Memphis and Kid Bryant from South Carolina. We've played for 1 million years now, and play him again this year, and several others. So it's a talented roster from the American League, from a good league. So, and a team we struggled with last year. So we'll have to play better.
Any questions? Bruce, what is it about the way they defend that stands out?
Well, to speak specifically about the way they defend, I'm not going to give their scouting report as far as what bothered us, but they put great pressure on the ball. They have really good athletes. They're really fast. They're really quick. And I would say their ball pressure and their scout, like they really, really had a good feel for what we were trying to do. And they did a great job of taking that away. They're really prepared.
Bruce, how close is Westridge to return to practice and get back to health?
I'm saying again.
Chris West, how close is he to
Chance. Yeah, that's right. I can't hear any other wrong first name. Other than that, we were perfect. He's close. Yesterday was the first day that Chance came back and he went full speed with the team. Did not go live. And so, and probably won't do much more of this. I don't think he plays Friday, but he's getting closer.
How are you guys doing with the flu that's been going on campus?
Yeah, we've battled it last week and a little bit less this week, but it's a factor in your preparation. But did it run its course through the team last week, more than this week, or over the weekend? Hopefully.
Bruce, you mentioned the support for the football team. What have you been able to talk to Coach Caddy? If so, what are those interactions? Any advice? I know you're busy.
Yeah, he's busy and I'm busy. Other than just communicating with, letting him know how proud I am for the way those guys played and how hard they played and the passion and intensity and so just I have communications with a lot of our coaches like that. So
anything in particular you'd like to see improve from game 1 to game 2?
I'd love to see if we could obviously continue, just kind of learn, just like communicating defensively. It's hard to communicate defensively because it's so loud. So in some of our very first early ball screen calls, we got our calls wrong. But sometimes when the calls are wrong, your body can still recover and put itself in the right spot. And so we weren't able to adjust to the fact that we couldn't hear each other communicate. And then we had some real breakdowns defensively. So communication and then reading body language as well as not being able to hear. And then, I thought that when we got inside out rhythm threes or things along those lines, we shot them pretty well, and we didn't shoot very well off the bounce. It seemed like every time we pat it and pull it, we didn't make any of those. So we just got to continue to do a better job of finding good threes to take and make.
Bruce, there's a stretch in the first half. I think you guys had an inside pass to Janai in like 4 or 5 possessions. Were you happy with the way they fed into that first game with his touches, given that you guys haven't had a true back to the basket?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. He's got the first few points for us, and we definitely have, between Dylan and Janai, Jalen and Yohan, we actually have 4 guys down there that can score, and that is a strength of our team. Now, the great challenge with post offense is, number one, officials rarely call defensive post defensive foul. Rarely. They allow the defense to just be very physical, and then as soon as the offense initiates contact and kind of walls up or does anything in the way of sealing illegally, those are all offensive fouls. It's just a very interesting way, the way they're guarding it. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying it's the way they're guarding it. They let the defense, I think, play much more physically. Now we play physically defensively in the post too, so we'll take advantage of that. Then the second thing is throwing the ball in there is an art. It's an art, and on time and on target, and not everybody can do it. So it's a challenge to get it in there. So I thought we did a pretty good job in there. And then once it goes in, they let a lot of contact. So back when we were growing up, inside shots were a high percentage shot. You don't see any inside shots in the NBA except transition and dunks. You don't see any post game because the guys are too big, too strong. It's too physical, and they're not calling fouls. So interior post offense in the NBA is non-existent, and in college has become a lower percentage play versus an open three. And so, but we got to go to what one of our strengths, and one of our strengths is getting it inside, and so yes, we'll continue to play through all the nonsense I just gave you.
In that vein, do you think then it's important, like you said, he got y'all's first 2 baskets in the game? Do you think it's important to get him going early? That way, like you said, once they get one going.
Yeah, no, I'm not big on. I would say, early, I'm more about matchups than I'm just establishing him early or establishing a low post play early. It's like when officials say we're gonna call it close early on the inside, establish how we're gonna call it. I'm not big on necessarily that. That would be more of a going at a matchup early.
Got time for one more?
Bruce, John Cohen said during his press conference that he was in the locker room during halftime on Friday. Oh, I'm sorry, on Monday.
Who is this?
John Cohen, the new
Okay.
athletic director. He said he saw the same look that he had seen from himself, kind of anger from you, maybe, in the locker room. Were you kind of upset about how the first half finished?
No, it's interesting. I have no idea what John said, but for me, I actually went in there with my team, and their heads were kind of down. And I said, for the first 15 minutes, that was great basketball. I mean, we played really well. We played really hard for them to score. And in the last 4 or 5 minutes, we did some things defensively that we talked about not doing that allowed them to knock down 3 threes. And all of a sudden, whatever it was, what was the number with 4 or 5 minutes to go? Let's say it was 15. It got, what was the score at halftime? 6 or 7? 7. So it really was we lost about half our lead. And I actually went in with the players, and I was more, put your head up, because they were more upset the last few minutes. We played really good basketball. There's going to be ebbs and flows. So, no. Maybe my being, that's funny, maybe my being positive with the players, John actually thought that was even being negative. That's how negative I can be, I guess.
All right, guys, we're going to get Alan and Chris in here. yourself.